is just a fancy word for all the tools and gadgets used in wars to take out the bad guys. This includes everything from old-school swords to those cool ray guns you see in sci-fi movies. Not all weapons you see in movies or read about in books are made up some stories that are set in today's world, or the near future feature weapons that could actually be built with the technology we have now. Talking about future weapons, the big player is the Electro Magnetic Launcher, EML. It's a fancy device that uses electric and magnetic forces to shoot stuff. EML is an umbrella term for a bunch of devices, but the railgun steals the spotlight. Back in early 2016, there was talk about the US Navy wanting to use railguns within 2 years, which got people pretty excited. The cool thing about railguns is, well, they have rails. These rails shoot bullets using a boatload of energy. While old-school gunpowder weapons cap out at speeds of 2,000 meters per second, railguns could theoretically hit speeds up to 10,000 meters per second. Yeah, they're that powerful, like blow up a car powerful. But there's a big catch, they're really not efficient. A tiny bit of the energy you put in actually goes towards moving the bullet. And with the tech we have now, you'd need a power plant's worth of energy for each railgun. This means that only big ships could realistically use them. Thinking about putting one on a tank or having a soldier carry one around is pretty much fantasy. Despite the Navy's coming soon attitude, the Department of Defense wasn't exactly on board with the idea of rolling them out. Sure, railguns are the stars of the EML world, but there are other players like coil guns and electrothermal guns. Coil guns launch bullets with pure magnetism and are also known as Gauss guns. Unlike railguns, they don't run electricity through the bullet itself, which means they don't get unnecessarily hot. This also means they're pretty stealthy, making almost no noise or light when fired. The main issues are about the power source and needing a setup that accelerates the bullet in stages, which leads to a bigger gun. Plus, the bullet needs to be magnetic. Despite these challenges, coil guns are pretty efficient energy-wise. Fixing the cooling and acceleration issues could really make them viable. Electrothermal gun. These guns are kind of like your traditional gunpowder firearms and can even use some of the same parts. They work by zapping a conductor with super high voltage electricity to create a plasma explosion that pushes the bullet forward. At the end of the day, they're not too different from traditional guns. This similarity has led to some harsh critiques, basically asking, what's the point? Right now, they're not really in the spotlight for research, mostly due to the same power supply issues that other EML weapons face. So, while these futuristic weapons sound super cool and have some serious potential, there are still some big practical hurdles to clear, especially around power supply and efficiency. Are you looking for a weapon that boasts ultra superpower while being highly efficient? It is a light gas gun. Light gas refers to a light gas such as hydrogen or helium, and a light gas gun is a state-of-the-art air cannon using such gas. Although it is an air cannon, its theoretical maximum speed is 10,000 meters per second, the same as that of a railgun. Basically, it has a speed of about 6,000 meters per second, so it would not be an exaggeration to say that it is the strongest among guns in terms of power. The working principle is to explode gunpowder, compress helium, and push the shell out with the high-pressure helium. The reason helium is used in practice is because hydrogen has the risk of explosion. Since the only thing coming out of the muzzle is helium gas, it is not easily visible to the enemy. Although the part that charges helium gas is quite large, it is still small in volume compared to a railgun, which requires a power supply the size of a battleship. Therefore, it can be easily made to be mounted on a tank or carried by infantry. The advantage of a light gas gun is speed. According to the heat conduction equation, the maximum firing speed of the rifle is 1/200 meters per second, and if you multiply this by 7.8 times, it becomes 9,360 meters per second. This is the basis for saying that the firing speed of a light gas gun is theoretically about 10,000 meters per second. The light gas gun was originally a device created to reproduce the meteorite impact phenomenon in a laboratory. However, someone who confirmed its power sought a way to use the technology as a weapon of war, which led to today. It raised the expectations of so many people that some people started a business after seeing a light gas gun. As a result of repeated research and development based on the light gas gun, a weapon called Neutron was born. Although it is still in the test production stage, it has succeeded in firing 45mm bullets at 6,000 meters per second with Neutron. The disadvantage is that the speed of the bullet at the moment of launch is not constant. Since it is a weapon of war, the speed of the bullet must be constant. Even a slight error will cause the bullet to miss the target or end up stuck in the ground. The reason the speed is not constant is that light gas guns have a structure where, when the pressure of the helium gas reaches the limit, the valve opens and pushes the bullet out. However, because the pressure is too strong, ordinary valves cannot be used, and a destructive valve is used that ruptures and releases the internal pressure when the pressure rises above the set value. Since the pressure cannot be kept constant with current technology, the speed is bound to become unstable. In order to put light gas guns into practical use, the performance of the valve must be improved. For reference, research is also being conducted to further improve the performance of light gas guns, under the premise that this problem will also be solved one day. The reason for going through the cumbersome process of compressing helium by pushing a piston with gunpowder is because oxygen is used no matter what gunpowder is burned, so gas with a molecular weight lower than oxygen cannot be generated. It would be good to burn helium from the beginning, but helium cannot be burned unless it undergoes nuclear fusion. If it were fiction, it would be okay to say, it's a fusion cannon that uses nuclear fusion energy to fire a cannonball. But in reality, it is of course impossible to fusion helium inside a cannon barrel. So far, we've taken a brief look at future weapons. It's a weapon that we can't see easily yet, but after some time, future weapons will become present weapons.